Hello and welcome at the 12th edition of BioVision Forum. BioVision Forum here in Lyon is 1,200 attendees, more than 150 speakers and experts debating with all the attendees. 3 plenary sessions, and to act and to interact. And here next to me sits Mike Hardman, which is Dr. Mike Hardman, right. VP IMI Collaboration intern. You are here, Mike, to debate about the future of scientific communication. Is that it?
That's correct, yes.
Could you tell us, we are talking here in BioVision with the hashtag on Twitter of BioVision about the future, about the progress. What is the implication of progress from the perspective of research?
Right. Let me just start by saying that I've spent the last 30 years working within the pharmaceutical industry and the last 7 years working with education training programs in Europe.
So you know both sides.
So I have a view on both sides. I think one of the areas we've focused on recently is with young scientists, making them aware of the need for communications, the way the environment has changed, the way things has changed with publications, how that fits into their careers, so they can actually communicate the science better. The other element are some of the changes that we've seen, which we'll be talking about during the debate, and that relates to transparency, so that people want to know that the information which is being provided is reliable. They want to be able to access that information themselves so they can do some of the research. And we also want to make sure that that's available on a global basis. So there's a whole range of things which have changed, and those are some of the areas we'll be talking about during the debate.
There's a direct impact on the training of your students?
I think a lot of the students don't get very much in terms of training about communications and some of the broader skills. They're very well trained in terms of their science, but science itself won't allow them to communicate with the broader community. It won't allow them to communicate with non-scientists, with society. So there's a range of areas there that they need to be familiar with, and we've been working to try and do that.
Which are these areas?
I think it's, first of all, what's changed in terms of the way that journals are organized, the demands for information, the access to the basic information so that people can reproduce some of those data.
There's a lack of access to the basic information?
Previously, what used to happen with publications is that the scientists would provide the overview and a reasonable amount of information so that it could be reviewed. But they didn't provide all of the individual data which they'd used in their experiments. Now in many journals they're being asked to do that so that people can't just read it. They can actually take those data sets and they can reanalyze it themselves or do further research. That's different. That's changed.
Is there other changes that you can see in your everyday life?
I think there are also changes in terms of the importance of publications for some of the young scientists, that if you're making your career, then you have to publish in what are called high-impact journals, otherwise you don't get the funding. And what we've been trying to do is to make people more aware of the implications of that, so that not only can they do good science, but they can make that information available to the global scientific community.
Do you succeed in that?
I believe we're succeeding in that, yes. Yeah.
And how do your students react? I mean, do they adopt this more communication way to communicate?
I think they realize the importance of the communication. So let me give you a brief example. During some of the sessions, we actually get them to give very short presentations to people who come from a different scientific background, so-called elevator speeches. That's difficult unless it's something you're familiar with, but it's one of the skills they need to learn so they can focus on the headlines.
How do they do to focus on the headlines? You train them?
That we show them what is expected, we give them examples of what's being done, and then they all have to give one of these short presentations. And I have to say most of them are very good at it. It takes a little while for them to get used to it, but it's another part of the communication skills which they are learning.
So you're also a member of this workshop for global medical education. What has changed? We are in 2017. What has changed in the medical education today?
What we were talking about, I think, was the direction in which medical education will need to go to reflect a number of things. One of them is working across different disciplines, which isn't automatically built into the medical education at present. Another is the role of patients or of members of society, where again that hasn't been the focus. And that's a range of communication skills, it's a range of other skills that people need to learn over and above what they previously learned as part of their medical education.
So you're saying that for research, communication is important?
Critical.
Critical, huh? Okay, thank you. We have to thank you. I know that you have now your session, so maybe I should let you go. This was Mike Hardman, Dr. Mike Hardman, from VP EIMI Collaborations and Train. Thank you, and see you in BioVision.
Thank you very much.